some of the beautiful sights of South Florida. Get ready for the Fort Lauderdale Open, the 2022 AVP Pro Series. Coming up next from Stadium Court, it'll be a women's contenders match. 12th seed Jessica Gaffney and Molly Turner taking on the 13th-seeded pair of Katie Dickens and Jennifer Keddy. Let's throw it down to Mark Schurman for the intros to our players on Stadium Court.
Yes, it is time for match number 2 this morning here in Fort Lauderdale. This is Elimination Saturday, everybody. Winner of this match moves into the top 10. Loser gets 13th. And let's meet the ladies of our second match here on Stadium Court. This first player out of Covington, Louisiana. Indoor and beach volleyball player at Louisiana State University. Let me hear it for Katie Lindelo Dickens. And Katie, along with her partner, they're playing in their first AVP Pro Series event right here in Fort Lauderdale this year. This player out of Austin, Texas, went to the University of Virginia and Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for Jennifer Keddy. And their opponents coming in as number 12 seed. This player originally out of Temecula, California, went to the University of San Francisco, transferred to Cal Berkeley. Give it up for Jess Gaffney. And her partner out of Naperville, Illinois, and Grand Canyon University, and she recently got engaged on a mountain with snow, which I don't understand how that works in the summer. It's Molly Turner. I saw your picture, Molly, and I asked him, I was like, are they in like Europe or something? Like, are there mountains with snow
those intros
in our area?
As we get set to start this contenders bracket match. Thanks for joining us here. My name's Matt Prosser, bringing you the action alongside Olympic gold medalist Dane Blanton. Mark Schurman down on the court. As Evans Turner will get us underway here to start this match. Right out of the gate,
nice joust.
A little joust to the net.
And you know what?
Dickens Keddy.
The wind, Matt, is going to be a huge factor here today. It's howling wind. You want to be on that good side. You want that wind in your face, and that's going to be a huge factor in this one.
Wind always seems to be a factor in these South Florida tournaments. You can see from the flags there on the ocean side of our stadium court, blowing in the wind, and a hitting error there gives the second straight point to Dickens Keddy.
And the follow through, and that violation is 3-0. For Keddy and Dickens.
That violation called against Jessica Gaffney there on that attack. So Gaffney and Turner starting on the good side, but giving up 3 early points here to Dickens Keddy.
Yeah, you can see the little follow through. She touches the top of the net, and that's a violation.
That time Gaffney going for the back set, getting the ball to drop and scoring their first point.
Yeah, nice roll shot right there. Dickens and Keddy off to a great start here. This is how you want to start it off. Jump out early, get a comfortable lead, and kind of try to settle in, because there's going to be a lot of elements to deal with.
And just like that, with their first serve from the good side, gets a little help from the tape for that trickler ace. But you're right, Dane, how important is it to score some early points on the bad side?
Well, it's extremely important, but you got to score about 4, you want to be at least 4 or 5 points on the good side. And when we say good side, that's when the wind's in your face. You can serve the ball. It's just a little bit harder, as you see right there. Gaffney keep going for it, and they're going to have an opportunity to score.
3 straight start from Dickens.
Good transition and counterattack that time from Molly Turner on the left side.
Which means the score is 3-3.
Molly Turner had a fantastic career at Grand Canyon University, and so many players coming out of the NCAA collegiate system.
And the block for 4 straight points.
Just like that, Gaffney gets a block, and we take our first side switch now, 4-3 in favor of Turner Gaffney.
Great lateral movement by Gaffney right there. Moving, sticking with it, and then pressing over at just the right time.
So after a shaky start, 4 straight points for Turner Gaffney, but now they go to the bad side serving.
Made it 5 straight.
Gaffney doing a nice job serving and then staying off the net, prepared to drop. That time Keddy going into the net on that attack.
Yeah, you saw the elements going to be a huge factor. 87 degrees, 60+% humidity, 15-mile-an-hour winds. I like to always say ideal beach volleyball conditions, Matt, but these are far from ideal.
Little adversity for both teams, obviously, dealing with that wind, and not something that they typically see training-wise. You know, a lot of people training in the mornings, especially on the beaches in Southern California or wherever. Not too many people tend to train in the wind, so it does tend to show some challenges for both sides.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, Matt. There's so many players shy away from playing in the wind. They go down to practice in the afternoon. It's howling winds. Maybe they cut practice a little short. But those who stay down there, those who work in the wind, they get adjusted to it, because you're going to hit all sorts of elements when you're playing in a tournament. And that really separates, you know, the good players from the great players. Being able to adjust to the elements.
With the kill, 5-6.
Yeah, it's always fun to see how players cope with the wind and the challenges that it does bring. Tends to see some changes in tempo, of speed of setting, maybe passing the ball a little lower, but obviously you do see some great serving, especially from the good side into the wind. But really defensive efforts, counterattacks makes it just that much more important. And then your defensive efforts as well.
How about that turn from Gaffney?
Gaffney with a big hit right now. She's starting off on fire, as you mentioned. They had a bit of a slow start, but they have taken control here, already guaranteeing themselves, you know, at least an even switch. So in terms of the win game, I think Gaffney and Turner are ahead of the game.
That was Keddy Lindelof Dickens with a good side out from the right side over the block and into the corner. It will be interesting as this match goes on to see which team serves each player. Clearly going against Gaffney specifically, mostly so far early on.
Shot into the wind from off of that. We're going to take side switch, all tied at 7.
It's a big point right there by Dickens. Dickens and Keddy putting that ball away, evening this thing up at 7 points. It's a big difference. You may not think so, but it's a big difference going over to the bad side, tied 7-all, as opposed to being down a couple points where you're in a hole and you have to dig out.
Certainly psychologically, it definitely helps to be tied when you're serving on the bad side.
Beautiful roll shot right there by Gaffney. Gaffney, 6'1", out of Temecula, coming on the right side, notices the defense in the angle, and she's able to really pinpoint that ball just on the outside of the line.
Really nice dig there by Molly Turner, but not able to score the point. So a good defensive effort. Dane, expect to see a lot of players running those back sets today because of the wind direction?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you're on the wind side and the wind is blowing across the court, sometimes you want to do a back set to keep that ball in front of you, and so that you have a better angle of approach to hit that ball.
And that time right there, Gaffney hitting another block, her second one of the match so far, but that set drifting maybe a little bit too tight for Jennifer Keddy.
Yeah, you want to be aggressive, but not too aggressive, and that ball gets right up at the net. Gaffney knows exactly what to do right there. Just throw that ball back, and that's going to happen. When you're dealing with this type of wind, the ball's going to blow over the net.
The ace, go back up by 2, 10-8.
And the service ace that time by Jessica Gaffney, dropping right in front of Dickens, getting a little more influence from the wind as well on the service line.
It's very interesting going back and forth. Whoever plays it right, takes care of the good side, gets a couple on the bad side, is going to be in good shape. There's a beautiful serve down the middle.
Turner with a nice heads-up play to go over on 2.
Yeah, it looked like Molly Turner made a great play. This free ball pass a little bit too close to the net, and Molly Turner using her ability and her vision to get that ball to the sand.
That time a service error from the good side comes Jessica Gaffney, just a little too strong on that serve.
Yeah, I don't mind missing that serve, being aggressive, going for it. That's what it's really going to take, but you want to be smart about it.
And Dan, on the other side of the coin, when you're on the bad side, you don't want to miss too many serves because you want to make the team earn their points on the good side.
Yeah, it's just so much riskier on the bad side to try to get that ball. Here's a nice rally. But again, Turner and Gaffney going to have an opportunity to finish.
And we'll take that technical timeout, 12-9.
And finish she does. Molly Turner gets the ball to drop on the counterattack. The longer rallies we've seen so far in this match, and that takes us to our 21-point technical timeout with Turner Gaffney up by 3 here in set number 1.
Brewing Company has been a fun addition to the
Yeah, I really like what I'm seeing from Jessica Gaffney and Molly Turner. They're playing it right. They're playing it smart. They're being aggressive on the good side, and that's why they have this 12-9 lead. And taking a look at the stats right there, pretty even so far, but Turner and Gaffney definitely with the edge. I think that what pops off the page right there is the hitting percentage. 333 for Gaffney and Turner, 182, not nearly as efficient for Dickens and Keddy.
And check out some of our live athlete statistics down there at the bottom in blue. Distance and jumps. Players wearing devices to collect those analytics in the match. Be very interesting to see how those continue to influence and bring some extra data to our viewers here from Fort Lauderdale.
So much technology, and those little modules on the back of their tops, and they measure pretty much everything, your distance traveled, your jumps, and when you get really intricate into it, you see the level of jump. Say you're starting with a 20-inch jump, and as the end of the match you're only at 15. It's a great training tool, and a lot of professional leagues are using it.
So right out of the gates from the good side, Jennifer Keddy on the left side goes down the line for that point.
Keddy right here gets a nice set from Dickens, and she goes straight down the line. Real efficient right now, and if they can turn it around on the good side right now, I think they need a 5-2 or a 6-1 switch to get back into this one.
Well, you're right, Dane. They're going to have to put some pressure on Turner Gaffney, especially serve reception when they're on the good side, and try to get him out of system a little bit. But that was a good side out by Turner, and now Gaffney will serve. Nice defensive effort there. Molly Turner getting the dig on that option play and then turning it for a real point on the bad side. So that might prove to be an important point in this set.
Yeah, so important. Molly Turner, known for her defense. And I think maybe trying to get a little too tricky was Dickens.
Good bounce back there. You can see Dickens, Keddy maybe struggling a little bit with their set location in the wind. That time a little through the middle. Keddy able to roll it over. Still score the point and get the side out though.
The dish from Turner and Gaffney.
Gaffney taking a big swing from the left side there. Scoring with that cross-court winner.
Yeah, that was nice. The 6'1" Gaffney going up against the 6'4" Keddy right there, but she hits a sharp angle, untouchable.
There's a good side out by Dickens, Keddy to stay within 3 here. Tense moments for them as they're on the good side. They've given up 2 real points on this side exchange already. They need to stay within striking distance here. But Gaffney continuing to side out nicely.
16-12.
Yeah, that's a really big side switch. 16-12 lead. You're going to the good side. So Dickens and Keddy know they're in a really difficult situation here. They're going to have to force the issue, somehow try to figure out how to manufacture some points. But right now, if you are Turner and Gaffney, you're feeling good. You've built up a 4-point lead. You're going to the good side, and now it's time to close out this first set.
They're back at it on court number 2, Nick Lucena.
So Dickens and Keddy calling a timeout as we see some statistics from them on their side during this timeout. And discussion with their coach in the player box. Pretty even stats all the way across. Keddy, the 6'4" blocker, obviously getting that block, but also getting the majority of the serves. And on the other side, Turner Gaffney up by 4 here, looking to close out set number 1, like Dane said. Here's a look at their stats.
Check out Gaffney getting 24-inch jump in the sand is a serious jump. That's something we don't see that at that height, and this just shows the athleticism, right?
It does show the athleticism. It's really cool to see the height of these athletes' jumps in the sand. I mean, obviously, data we'll be bringing all season long, and be interesting to see how it shakes out throughout the year, especially in some of these deeper sand tournaments later in the season and later on in this event from Fort Lauderdale. Gaffney back to action with that 4-point lead from the good side now.
Are we getting
tough
We'll miscue on that drop kick.
Nothing.
Tough play. Little drop by Gaffney. She's in the right spot, makes the right play, but then she puts the pass right up on the net, and it causes some confusion for Turner, and that's a point they would love to have back.
Well, the offensive creativity still working nicely for Turner Gaffney. You see Gaffney getting all the serves. She goes for the back set again, but then Turner going over on 2 and scoring the point.
You know, Matt, we were talking about the vertical leap in the sand. We saw 24 inches here. Yesterday, the highest jump was Haley Harward at 24 inches. So if you're in that 24, 25 range, you're skying.
18-13.
Well, you bring up a great point. Haley Harward, a very physical and athletic player. She'll be on stadium court later this morning. Early afternoon for their winners bracket quarterfinal. But meanwhile, Dickens with a good roll shot over the block and down to stay within striking distance, but they really have to produce some points now from the bad side, Dane.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. You got to take some risks right now. You're on that bad side, which means the wind is on your back and you're down, and this is an opportunity.
Tricky. 19-14, 2 points.
Sneaky play there from Molly Turner to bump the ball over on 2, catching Dickens and Keddy completely off guard.
Yeah, Dickens has to be ready for stuff like that. You got to be on the lookout. Molly Turner known for her cagey plays, and she'll go over at any moment.
There's a good high line shot from Dickens to go over the block and down. Turner make a good break on it, but just couldn't reel that one in. Dan, you don't want to ever say never is never, but for Dickens, Keddy, what do they have to do now to try to carry some momentum over to set number 2? Because it looks like this one might be getting away from them.
Yeah, and another beautiful over by Molly Turner. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes, you know, it's not over yet, this first set, but you definitely want to get the momentum on your side. You want to start playing a little bit cleaner. They've given away some easy plays. And, you know, they're getting into the groove of things. We saw a lot of 3-setters yesterday. So if they can bounce back by passing the ball better, converting defensively, they're going to be in good shape.
So it's set point for Turner Gaffney. And there was a chance, but you see the set go over the net. Keddy was there to take care of it.
Smart play right there by Keddy, and now they're going to have to make it happen again. You know, unlike the last, I'd say, decade on the AVP, Matt Prosser, no longer do we have the freeze, and that's been an interesting topic of conversation for everybody involved. What are your thoughts?
Well, the freeze, the dynamic of the freeze really made for some interesting situations, right? You saw some teams able to fight back and really make some interesting stuff, and you saw some matches really get prolonged, as there's a great side out from Turner on the right side. That closes out set number 1. We'll come back to that topic in a little bit, Dane, but set 1 in the books. Turner Gaffney taking it 21-16 over Dickens Keddy here from Stadium Court in Fort Lauderdale.
I think interesting stat right here on the bottom, Matt, is 54 jumps for Turner and Gaffney. So they're putting out a little bit more expenditure, but that seems to be what it takes. And that hitting percentage of 565 is something special. And then the ace is 3-0. That has been a huge difference. I think midway through that one, it was Turner and Gaffney who's really started to play consistent.
Great statistics. We'll take a quick break and come back after this commercial.
You and I, the sky, the moon and the light was just a ride. Share a little love, learn to respect one another. We could find a way to make another day brighter now that we got each other.
Dear Mainland, aloha. My brother and I hear lots of you have discovered a real Hawaiian favorite, Big Wave Golden Ale. That's the good kind of stuff, yeah, bro. Maybe it's the island flavor that makes each sip taste like a little vacation.
Got your beers here.
That's a whole lot of little vacations right there, huh, brother? That's like a big vacation. Retirement. One life, right? Mahalo. Big Wave Golden Ale from Kona Brewing.
Welcome back to the 2022 AVP Pro Beach Series. It's Fort Lauderdale Open. Contenders bracket action here on Stadium Court. Molly Turner gets us started here in set number 2. From the good side, Gaffney can't run that one down, and just a mirror image of set number 1. Dickens Keddy getting on the board first. Matt Prosser along with Dane Blanton here.
Yeah, Matt, it's going to be an uphill battle for Dickens and Keddy, but that's the way you want to start it. Remember, they started off really hot in set number 1 and then cooled off, and it was all about Gaffney and Turner stepping it up. And they've done it with plays like that. See Gaffney going over on the second contact, and every time they go over on a second contact and don't use all 3 contacts, it doesn't seem like Dickens and Keddy are ready for it. They have to lock in.
Couldn't agree with you more, Dane. The importance of that option offense. Turner and Gaffney really executing it nicely. Both players going over on 2. However, that service error into the net gives Dickens Keddy another point here. But it seems as if Dickens Keddy has possibly changed up their service strategy, this time going over to Gaffney on the bad side and getting her first block of the match. Is Jennifer Keddy that time.
Keddy out of Missoula, Montana, 6'4", long arms, jumps huge into the angle, presses with that left hand, and that ball goes straight down.
And there's another attacking error from Turner Gaffney. Serving strategies getting them a little bit out of system now. And another huge block by Jennifer Keddy on the back set that time.
Impressive lateral movement by Keddy. Jessica Gaffney didn't like getting blocked on the left side, so she goes on a back set to the right side, trying to throw the blocker off, but doesn't work that time.
And another great start by Dickens Keddy.
That's out of bounds. What a start.
Gaffney missing that shot down the line, and a 6-1 side switch from the bad side leads Molly Turner to call a timeout very early here in set number 2, Dane.
Well, Matt, just like you said, they need to manufacture some sort of momentum going into the end of that first set, and that's exactly what Dickens and Keddy have done on the bad side, have taken a 6-1 lead. I mean, if you're Molly Turner or Gaffney, you know, you're thinking to yourself, how do we let this go so early?
Certainly a dream start as we see the remainder of the 2022 AVP season. Next stop in Atlanta next weekend, and then back to the beaches of Southern California for the Manhattan Beach Gold Series. Very excited for that one, obviously. Virginia Beach, Chicago, Atlantic City, and the final stop for the Phoenix Championships in late September. So a full calendar of action this year on the AVP Tour, 16 events. This is number 8 on the season. And another stop back in Fort Lauderdale. Dane, how'd you like playing in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, I loved playing in Fort Lauderdale. It's crazy to think that the AVP hasn't been here since 2010, and the hotel in the background, I remember staying there, and it's just, you know, really knowledgeable fans, love the sport. So much goes on in Fort Lauderdale, but always the challenge is the weather, the humidity and the heat. If you don't prepare for it, it's going to get you.
Well, you got to prepare for it, but you also have to continue to focus on it throughout the event, replenish what you put out during your matches, and that's something that a lot of these California players might not be very used to. I know I always struggled with the humidity and that replacement of salts and carbs to get you through with the proper amount of fuel in your matches.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more, Matt. It's preparation. Some of these athletes get it. Some have to learn the hard way if they're young and haven't played much. But that heat, once it gets to you, it's a little too late, right? You got to always be hydrating, always be prepared.
Well, that time, Dickens with a sneaky little over on 2 with the back bump into the open court. Giving Turner Gaffney a little bit of their own medicine now. 7 serving 2.
Yes, out of bounds. Back to serve Gaffney, 37.
Missing that serve though, but you can see Dickens, Keddy with the advantage, playing with a little bit more confidence, being more aggressive with their serves. Nice defense from both sides. Oh, but the bump over goes just out of bounds wide, and a point for Turner Gaffney.
Yeah, it's interesting how many points are actually being scored on the bad side, and we referred to that bad side is the side that Gaffney and Turner are serving from right now. It's slightly at their back, but it's crazy how many points have been scored over there here in this second set.
Now, Keddy doing a good job passing that ball and siding out over the block and down for that line shot. Still a 4-point advantage here in set number 2 for Dickens, Keddy. Oh, Molly Turner with a very nice shot high over the defender and into the corner.
Yeah, and what makes this shot so difficult is the wind is at her back, and she's going for the deep shot. That ball can easily get caught up in the wind and end 3 or 4 feet out of bounds, but great calculation by Molly Turner.
Deep into the angle, off the top of the hand into the block.
Now Jennifer Keddy comes right back though and puts the shot over the block and into the corner.
And Keddy looking to force the decisive set number 3 once again. This is
the 9-5 side switch puts Turner Gaffney back on the good side, but got their work cut out for him here. No timeouts left as they called it early on in set number 2, and they're gonna have to create some scoring runs now on the good side.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity for them. Gaffney and Turner have just switched to the good side. It's a nice wind in their face. They just got to clean up the game to get back into this thing, but give a lot of credit to Dickens and Keddy. They have stepped up their game in this second set.
Now that's a big swing by Jessica Gaffney coming through the middle that time, and Turner giving her a great hand set. So a good side out for Turner Gaffney there. Another dig by Turner. Here's a chance for her to score. Not yet, but a free ball now. cover. And Turner able to score the point after that huge cover from her partner's attack.
Molly Turner all over right there. Beautiful set to her partner, Gaffney, and Gaffney gets blocked on that one, and Turner keeps it alive with the cover. So really locked in is Molly Turner.
Dane, can you speak really quickly on how important it is to cover your partner's attack on beach volleyball, please?
Well, it's absolutely everything, because as a blocker, you are so fired up. You get a block, you think that ball's going straight down, and then all of a sudden this defender covers you, and it can be kind of demoralizing, and it can take the wind out of your sails, because it's a momentum changer. You think you got a point, but you don't. They cover it, they put it away, and see that? There it is. The momentum stays on the side. They made that cover, and Gaffney with a beautiful serve.
Now you hit the nail right on the head. Momentum for sure. You get that cover and then follow it up with a service ace. What can Gaffney do now? Can she get a second one? She does. Back-to-back service aces for Jessica Gaffney to tie us up at 9 points apiece now in set number 2.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was going to say, no one has been real aggressive in the win, but Gaffney all of a sudden serving up a couple of aces, and we're all tied up at 9. That's what you have to do, roll the dice. If you don't risk it, you're not going to get the rewards.
Quick glance at the Sky Vodka rally of the day so far, just a couple of moments ago. Gaffney with the serve, a little short. Sit back and enjoy this one a little bit. There's that cover we were talking about, Dane, and then the counter attack from Molly Turner. The Sky Vodka rally of the day here from Stadium Court in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, you know, in a rally like that, it may be long for both teams, but when you win a rally like that, you feel good about yourself. You're not as exhausted. You lose that rally, you lose a little motivation, you lose a little bit of your fire, and right now, Gaffney and Turner are looking to use that momentum to push them through. Slow starts for this team in both first set and second set, but it seemed like midway through they start to turn it up.
Slow starts for sure for Molly Turner and Jessica Gaffney in both sets. Like you said, sort of a characteristic that's not always very good to have in beach volleyball. You don't want to get down 6-1 in a set and have to battle back, but they've shown that they can do that, and now we're tied at 9 points apiece after that timeout was called by Dickens and Keddy. A very aggressive set in transition from Molly Turner that time. Gaffney can't handle it. So a good side out for Dickens Keddy.
You know, I like that aggressive set. I think that was a little too low, a little too fast. If she put a little more loop into it, that's kind of what you want with a player like Gaffney as your partner, because Gaffney is so physical and tall at 6'1".
Keddy follows it up with a service error out through the inline. But Dane, you bring up a good point. How aggressive and how important is it to be aggressive in that transition setting opportunity?
Well, it's everything, because if you have an opportunity and you leave that set 10 feet off the net, that's not doing you any good. You want to put it up on the net, especially when you have the height. And that's what Gaffney has up at the net. And there's a real smart play by her as you were going to take the turn. But I always said, Matt, you and I played together as well. Anytime there was an opportunity to put that ball on top of the net with your physicality, I think that better served you rather than setting you 5-6 feet off the net.
Yeah, and are you okay with the hitting error from your partner if it's an aggressive set, because you're getting a chance to attack, whereas if it was too far off the net, you're just giving a free ball back over to the other team?
number 3 with Scott.
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, you risk it. Sometimes it's going to be too tight. The blocker's going to have the advantage, but you got to go for it. The intent of that set has to be close to the net rather than playing it conservative.
Risk versus reward, as we always say on beach volleyball, as we get a glance at the statistics here for Gaffney and Turner. Molly Turner attacking at a .688 hitting percentage. That's a pretty good number. Not getting a lot of opportunities, but still very high efficiency. Meanwhile, her partner not quite on the same level with her attacking percentages, which is why she's getting the majority of her serves. But for Gaffney, Turner, Dane, they've come back now with a 1-point advantage after the technical timeout, 11-10, but they're on the bad side. I think Dickens and Keddy need to do here to try to steal set number 2 after that great start. They now find themselves down by 1.
Yeah, it's crazy. I believe it was a 6-1 start for Dickens and Keddy, and they've scored 4 points since, whereas Turner and Gaffney have scored 10. Making 11 in a row for Gaffney since that 6-1 slow start. They have caught fire right here. Look at that left hand pressing over the net, throwing it back, and you can see with their body language, they're playing with much more confidence than before.
But Dickens comes right back with the option play, scoring on the side out there.
Yeah, I really like that play by Dickens, knowing where she's at. You know, both these teams lost yesterday. This team of Dickens and Keddy lost to Cloth and Nuss in straight sets. And remember, Cloth and Nuss run the first event of the year in Austin. So being in this contenders bracket, or we like to call it the snake pit, because you lose, you go home, and that's what these 4 players are playing for right now, Matt, is their lives here in Fort Lauderdale.
Win and advance, lose and go home. It is always exciting action in the contenders bracket, and this one is certainly living up to it as well. And there's a service ace for Jessica Gaffney, but this time on the bad side, Dave.
Yeah, that's impressive right there. Just taking the angle, trying to catch a little of the wind, because it's a side wind and it's to their back. So that is not the optimum side to be serving on. So for Gaffney to be scoring and putting the pressure on, that's been the difference. You know, you got to be aggressive from the service line.
Yeah, and that could prove to be a very pivotal point here in set number 2 in favor of Gaffney Turner. Her 3rd service ace of this set for Jessica Gaffney. Molly Turner putting on a clinic in the backcourt with a great dig down the middle. And they counter-attack past the block.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Matt. The defense by Molly Turner, she has done her homework. She has done the scouting. That ball was hit right down the middle by Dickens, and it seemed like Molly Turner knew it was going there before it was even contacted.
Service error from Jessica Gaffney gives Dickens and Keddy the ball back in their 12th point. Turner getting a chance to side out and scoring.
And Matt, we're in the same exact spot we were the first set, with Turner and Gaffney leading 16-12, and you wouldn't have guessed this with a 6-1 deficit that they faced early in this second set.
Certainly that 6-1 advantage by Dickens Keddy was a real dream start for them in set number 2, but ever since it's been all Turner Gaffney. But that time, Dickens is able to get the tomahawk dig to go over on 1 and fall for the point.
Yeah, so surprised that that ball actually fell. She overhand tomahawked it from probably 17 feet off the net, but Turner and Gaffney didn't make a play.
Come on, come on.
14-16.
Now there's another set in transition from way off the net. This time Gaffney can't find the court with it. Hits the ball out through the inline. So Dickens, Keddy now down by 2, staying within striking distance here in set number 2.
And that's something that Turner and Gaffney are going to have to work out. That set, I don't know if it was too quick, too low, but Gaffney has to be able to get on top of that ball, has to be able to put some pace and put it away. And that's maybe an area for improvement for them, that transition put away.
Well, Dickens continuing to work on Gaffney. She goes for the back set and scores again down the line. For Dickens and Keddy, Dane, they don't seem to know who to serve. Gaffney's been siding out relatively well. Turner siding out at a very high percentage. So it's been a bit of a struggle for them to figure out their strategies here.
Yeah, when you don't know who to go to, you just want to go aggressive, and I haven't really seen that from Dickens and Keddy. There's a bit of confusion as there's a beautiful hit cross court by Dickens, but you're absolutely right. You have to be aggressive from the back line. If you're not sure, just rip it down the middle, or maybe it's a high, deep float to make Gaffney run the entire court. But it doesn't look like they've locked in on the strategy. That's a good serve there.
Good effort to pursue that ball by Keddy, but this is the first time these two teams have played each other, which, you know, brings up another challenge here as well. It's, if you don't know a team very well, you know, strategies going into it, you've got to watch their matches, you know, from other events, maybe from yesterday, and really try to create some kind of game plan for a match when you're playing against a team for the first time.
I agree with you 100%. You know, you try to do as much homework as you can, but when teams are new, you just don't know exactly how they're going to function. And that's been the case. It seems like Dickens and Keddy have tried to kind of feel it out and go as they go along, and it just really hasn't clicked as of yet.
Well, tense moments now for Dickens and Keddy as they're facing elimination from Fort Lauderdale here as that serve goes out of bounds to the inline. 19-16 side switch with Turner Gaffney back by 3 points here, and just 2 points away from taking this match. Here's a rundown for the rest of the action here from Stadium Court today. The next 3 matches will change over to the men's side for what should be another contenders bracket match. Blomgren-Marciniak against Brewster-Friend. That should be an entertaining one. And then winners bracket matches the rest of the day from Stadium. Dickens with a good routine side out. On the good side now, they have to create something. Pressure from the service line to try to score some points here, Dane.
Yeah, this is important right here at this point. If they can cut it to a 1-point lead and they don't even give themselves a chance right there by serving that ball loud. So instead of battling to get it through 18-19, we're looking at a 3-point lead and the first match point.
18-20, a side out for the
Turner
win.
gives it right back with a service error of their own, but still 2 more match point opportunities for Turner Gaffney. Go to Turner. Big swing, and she gets it through the middle, and that'll do it, Dave.
21-18, and
Gaffney
they
and Molly
move
Turner get
into
the
the top
victory,
10.
21-16, 21-18, and advance here in the contenders bracket.
Yeah, it's rare that you see two sets really almost mirror images of themselves, with Dickens and Keddy getting out to an early start, but they weren't able to sustain it. They could not keep the consistency going, and a little slow start for Gaffney and Turner, but they were able to turn it around, and you can see there the hitting percentage about even. Dickens and Keddy actually winning the blocking category, but aces were the big difference. 6-0 for Turner and Gaffney, and that was just a little too much. The serving pressure was there, and I believe that was the difference, and that's why Gaffney and Turner will be moving on.
Well, Gaffney and Turner moving on to play again later today. For Katie Dickens and Jennifer Keddy, they go home with a 13th place and a nice little taste of what it's like to play on stadium court on a Saturday. But it'll be back to the drawing board for them and their training sessions and try to continue to get better before their next event. That'll do it for us here on Stadium Court. Be sure to check back in just a little bit for a men's match coming up next. For Dane Blanton, I'm Matt Prosser. Thanks for watching the AVP Pro Series AVP Tour from Fort Lauderdale.